425 series axle. This is a verification video mainly for internal use, but if you randomly find an axle, you know how to identify it. So the 425 series can be with or without differential lock. The 435 will be differential lock. The 425 will be non-lock. So if it's coming off of a tractor, your tag will identify that for you. In our particular scenario, because we get cores back that may have a bad case or whatever, sometimes the tag's not always correct because we swapped the case, so this is what this is for. So 435, 425 always has the external rear park brake or emergency park brake. It's the only one that has it in any of the series that I'm aware through 2019. The final drives also have a very distinct look to them. They have these extra gussets, which is unique to this axle, and it is a 5-inch axle, which is the only axle in the CNH axle line that has a 5-inch axle. So that's first. If we go to the front does not have a emergency brake, it's on the rear. Again, if we had a 435, 435 or 425, our tag would be correct. Here we swap cases again, so we go to physical differences. Front covers pre-2010 and back had what I like to use the word 3 and 2. This one has 2 fittings. The difference is on this side. So there is not an extra fitting here, and that makes this 2011 and newer, which would mean it's a 425 or 435 front. The yoke's missing off this, so that doesn't matter as much. So that's the difference between your front and rear. Final drive looks the same. The one thing that we have, or I've learned, is that 476 is an updated axle on the spline count. 841 is the original. And you can't tell that unless you take the axle apart, so those numbers do tell us something. Next will be, how do we know if we have differential lock? Well, again, if it comes out of the tractor, even if it had fire, the solenoid may be burned, but the coil will still be here. The valve. So this is how you tell if it has a lock. Now if this has been removed and plugged, then there's a whole nother scenario you have to go through, but typically that's the way you're going to see them. Even if this has fire on it, you would be able to see that the solenoid valve is there, even though the coil's burned off. Which is the same thing on the rear. Same thing on the front or on the rear cover. This rear cover is different because it has the emergency brake on it. So if we know for sure 100% straight off the tractor, serial number tag's going to tell you. If it's been to the rebuild shop and it comes back and it does not have 425 or 435 on it, we have to use this process to verify that that's what was built. The bare case itself is the same all the way back to the STX, this particular part. The internals are different, so that's why the case in this really should have came off. It didn't, but we can't control that always. This is what we can control. We can't